Hey there! Okay, so today I want to cover cast iron. I am a huge cast iron fan. I absolutely adore antique skillets. It's something that I've recovered a number of these now, and yeah, they're absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love them. I'm going to give you a quick background on why I use them, and if you want to use them, what to look out for. So traditionally, cast iron skillets are something that people think that you just throw away. Like nobody needs them anymore. But the truth is they actually are very, very good things to have around for a number of reasons. Number one, they're very, very practical. So let's imagine you're doing a steak on them. You know, you can sear it on here and then pop the entire thing, handle and everything else into the oven. Also, if you have problems with iron deficiency or anything like that, then cooking in cast iron can actually help you as well. From a cleaning standpoint, you don't require heavy chemicals or dish liquids or anything like that. They require a lot less maintenance. And the other thing is they don't wear out. So like this one here, this is I don't know if I can get this in the light so you can see it. So this is a McClary Spider. So McClary was a Canadian foundry. I'm not too sure when this one was made, and this is the problem with cast iron skillets. Sometimes you can't date them. What you can do is you can come up with a range as to roughly how old it is. Like this one over here, for instance, this, if I put it this way so you can see it, this is a Griswold number 6, and yeah, this is an American one. Now, because of the logo size here, this is actually known as a big block. Now, there's different types. They used to have little block, which was a smaller logo right in the center of the skillet. And those ones are the much older ones. But the big blocks, this one is somewhere between 1920 and 1940. So this one isn't as old as this one. I mean, this one could be anywhere from about 160 years old to 105 years old. This one is a little bit less. This is only about 80 years old, but it will probably still go, if looked after, for several hundred years. Like this thing will far outlast me. When I first get these, they're normally out of an antique store and they look pretty bad. People have a habit of like just blasting them with sand and air and stuff like this, and all of the lacquer, it comes up. So you have to do what's called seasoning in the pan to get this black stuff on here. Now, I don't like modern cast iron skillets. I do have some, they're bigger. They haven't been milled back to this shiny surface. Instead, they're sort of like sandpaper, for want of a better description, because when they were cast, the sand that they were cast in hasn't been ground away afterwards to get back to this. That means that the new pans are actually cheaper because less work went into them. These ones, they actually they cast them, but then they actually grind out the insides. That's what they used to do. That's how you get this lovely surface here. So the first thing I do when I get them, obviously, is I give them another quick clean just to make sure there's no contaminants or anything like that on there, and then I basically have to cover it in oil and then bake it. And what happens is the oil will then polymerize, and that's what makes them black. Underneath, these are actually like a sort of a silver grey colour. So you do that several times over, and that's how you season a pan. And what happens is that oil, it turns into this very, very hard surface, which it doesn't let food rust it. It's a great thing to have. Now, the only thing you have to watch out for is that you don't accidentally clean this stuff off. So, when you're done, you basically just take a paper towel, wipe around it, and, it's clean again. No self-respecting bacteria can survive when you heat these things up. It's going to be sterile again. So you never use dish liquid on these. But I absolutely adore these things. And you'll also notice how thin they actually are. They're very, very light. If you pick up a modern cast iron skillet, it weighs a ton because it's like 1/4 of an inch thick. The reason that the new ones are thicker is they don't use high quality iron. All the good iron got dropped on Germany in the 1940s. There's a certain irony to it that all of the good stuff, it got turned into bombs and planes and ammunition and stuff, all flew across the Atlantic or to Japan or wherever, got dropped on those countries, and then during the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, basically all of that metal was sold back in the form of BMWs and Toyotas. This one is an older one, so as you can see, if I bring this around, it's a little bit thicker. I mean, it's still probably about 1/4 of an inch thick, but it's still very, very thin, and this one's a lot lighter, this one's a little bit heavier. They're actually the same size. Like the lighter one is actually a little bit deeper. Cast iron skillets, I absolutely love them. They're very, very easy to use, and as I said, like the fact that you can actually then take it from the stovetop and stick it in the oven, You can't beat that. So the irony with this, not irony as in iron there, but yeah, I'm a technical person. I love high tech. But there are certain aspects of my life where I'm like, I don't like the high tech. I need to go back to the old way of doing it. And cast iron is one of those ways of doing it. An old Griswold big block is going to be much healthier for me than something that's got Teflon or whatever. And you know, I just much prefer to use these. They're cleaner, they're more environmentally friendly. You know, they're great to look at. Like people, they do notice them when they come into the house. They're like, wow, I didn't realize you know, you use cast iron so much. But you know, the funny thing is, I much prefer to use the old way of doing things, in the same way that you know I prefer to use a straight razor over a Gillette Mach 3. It just makes more sense to me. So anyway, that's what I wanted to cover today. Hope you found that one interesting, and speak to you soon. Bye.